This video is presented to you by www.testprepadda.com. Dear students, in the previous session of kinematics, I started the discussion of applications of equations of motion. In this session also, I'll continue the discussion of application. Here, we will learn the motion of the particle in a particular second. We will understand the motion of particle in a particular second. Consider the particle is moving in x direction. If I take this as positive x direction, particle is here. Let us say this as the origin. So at time t is equal to 0, the position of the particle is x is equal to 0. So the particle is here, it is moving in the x direction with constant acceleration. And initial velocity of the particle, let us say u. Okay, now if the particle at time t is equal to n minus 1 is here, and after 1 second, that is t is equal to n, the particle is here. Now we will learn the motion of the particle in this nth second. Nth second. Many times they ask questions in the exam which are based upon the motion of particle in a particular second. For example, if I ask you find the distance traveled by the particle in this nth second. Distance traveled by the particle in this nth second. To find that, I'll use equation of motion. S is equal to ut plus half at square. Okay, now if I substitute this time t as n minus 1 here, I'll get this distance d1. So I'll write d1 as u t as n minus 1 plus half a n minus 1 square. Consider this as equation 1. Now similarly, in this equation of motion, if I write this t as n, then I'll get this total distance d2. So d2 I'll write as u n plus half a n square. Consider this as equation 2. Now, to find the distance traveled by the particle in nth second, I'll subtract this d2 minus d1. d2 minus d1 is actually distance traveled by the particle in nth second. So it will be written as un plus half en square minus u n minus 1 plus half a n minus 1 square. So this way we will find the distance traveled by the particle in nth second. Now to understand this in a better manner, I'll take two questions here. Here the question says, a particle starts from rest from point P and it moves to point Q with uniform acceleration. In the last 2 seconds, the particle travels 7/16th of whole distance. If in the first 1 second the particle traveled the distance of 3 meter, then find the length PQ and time to go from P to Q. Question says initially the particle is at point P. Here the velocity is 0, acceleration is given. Now the particle moves towards point Q. Let us say the particle takes time t. Okay, and let the displacement or distance covered is s. Question says in the first 1 second, let us say this as 1 second, the distance traveled is 3 meter. Okay. Now further it says in the last 2 seconds. So I'll take this as t minus 2. So means from t minus 2 to t it will be 2 seconds. Okay. Question says the distance traveled here is 7/16 of S. S means total length, PQ length. So what will we do here? First, look at the motion of the particle in first 1 second. I'll use equation of motion. S is equal to ut plus half at square. I'll write u as 0. And this distance traveled is given as 3. So I'll write 3 is equal to half a t square will be 1 square because it is 1 second. So from here I'll get the value of a as 6 meter per second square. Okay, now for this whole motion PQ, if I use equation of motion, then I'll write S is equal to initial velocity is 0, so ut will become 0, half a is 6 and total time taken is t, so it will be 3t square. Okay, consider this as 1. Now, since the particle travels 7/16 of total distance in this 2 second, so the distance p, let us say this as r, the distance pr will be how much? S minus 7/16. And this distance is covered in how much time? T minus 2 seconds. So I'll write here S minus 7/16s, and that comes as 9/16s is equal to half a t square. I'll write t minus 2 square here. Consider this as 2. Equation 2. Now divide the 2. Equation 2 and 1. This way I'll get t square upon t minus 2 square is equal to 16/9. Okay. Now, if you solve this, the t comes as 8 seconds. So, the particle will take 8 seconds to move from point P to point Q. Now, if I substitute this 8 in this equation, I'll get S as t into 8 square, and that comes as 192 meter. Got the idea? Now to understand motion of particle in a particular second, I'll take another question here. Here the question says, a particle starts from rest with a constant acceleration. At a time t second, the speed is found to be 50 meter per second. And 1 second later, the speed becomes 100 meter per second. Find number one, the acceleration. Number two, the distance traveled during t plus 1 second. Now, uh, here you can see the particle starts from rest. U is 0. Initial velocity is 0. At time t, the speed is 50 meter per second. And after 1 second later, that means time t plus 1 second, the speed becomes 100 meter per second. Okay, so if I use at time t equation of motion v is equal to u plus at, then I'll write 50 is equal to at. Consider this as 1. And at t plus 1, if I use this equation of motion, I'll write 100 is equal to a t plus 1. Consider this as equation 2. Now, if I subtract here, I'll get a as 50 meter per second square. Okay. Now, in the second part of the question, it says the distance traveled during this particular second, t plus 1 second. Now, since the velocities are given, I can use v square is equal to u square plus 2as, this equation of motion, to find the distance traveled. Got it? Now here, this V will be taken as 100 meter per second and this U will be taken here as 50 meter per second. And A already, it's known, 50 meter per second square, and this S will be the distance traveled here. So, I'll substitute 100 square here is equal to 50 square plus 2 into 50 into S. This way, S comes as 100 square minus 50 square upon 2 into 50. A square minus B square, write A minus B into A plus B. So finally it comes as 50 into 150 upon 2 into 50, and the value comes as 75 meter. So the particle will travel 75 meter of distance in this t plus 1 second. Okay? In the next video lecture, I'll talk about motion of the particle under gravity, and we will derive some more equations for problem solving. This video is presented to you by www.testprepadda.com. TestPrepAdda.com provides free audio-visual lectures of different subjects by expert faculties, free online tests prepared by expert faculties to students who are preparing for engineering or medical entrance exams or planning to take exams like KVPY, Olympiad, etc. It provides a platform where students can interact with mentors to improve their performance in the exams. The mission of this online medium is to help students to achieve their goals. Log on to www.testprepadda.com to watch free video lectures on different topics, to download free revision notes, to take free chapter-wise online tests, progressive test, and mock test, to discuss doubts with mentors. Thank you for watching the video. To stay up to date with the latest videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on our Facebook page, Test Prep Adda. All the best.